Hi there, this is our daily tarot. Our reading today is coming out a little bit late because this morning I was working on a video to walk through different plant botanical comparisons, so different extracts and how they're made and what their concentration difference is, how they compare. So if you're interested in that kind of information, I encourage you to jump over to my YouTube channel, which is where I'll actually be uploading that video. It is about an hour and a half, so it's definitely packed full of information. It's not a quick video by any means, but it is a very useful video that I was encouraged to create by my students at the Good Medicine Confluence and at different workshops that I've taught at throughout the years, because it helps explain how all of the different plant extracts compare to one another. So I did create that this morning, and that should be uploaded onto YouTube within the next day or so, depending on, of course, my internet connection. Now, as far as today's tarot is concerned, we have the opening card of the Ace of Swords. We have the challenge today coming in as the Devil. The way that we're going to get through the challenge coming in as the Hanged Man. And then the ultimate outcome for today came in as the Nine of Cups, followed by the Magician for clarity. So 3 major arcanas in today's reading, but I think it's actually pretty inspiring and telling that a lot of us are getting some clarity as we approach this full moon tomorrow. And consider that the full moon tomorrow may be pretty impactful full moon, by way that it is going to be transversing. We're coming into conjunction with Saturn, which is the planet of limitation and authority. And we're going to be revisiting this. And some of us may feel totally overwhelmed and kind of weighed down. And others of us may feel like we're actually inspired to make a big shift, because consider that Saturn and Uranus have been in a square relationship, building some tension in our lives. So there's this meeting point of, which fork of the road we take. Do you succumb to feeling the burden of the situation that you're in and letting that defeat you, or do you use it as an impetus and to move yourself toward the change that you feel called by way of direction? Wherever Taurus is in your chart is likely the direction that you feel called to move toward, especially because we have Uranus with Mars and the North Node all in close proximity to each other, which is an energy of like engaging us to do something. Much like the warrior gets engaged to go onto the battlefield to make peace and to bring order out of chaos. So having this opening card of the Ace of Swords is a card of clarity and inspiration and insight. It may even feel like you're getting this idea that's coming in today that just kind of washes away all of the illusions and all of the unknowns. And it gives you this empowered stance to be able to cut through the BS and cut through any kind of mental fog that you feel like you've been transversing through. The challenge came in as the Devil. Now, the Devil card is all about self-imposed limitations. And so if we take an honest look at our life and the way that our daily life is structured, we may be able to get a better understanding of how we limit ourselves by way of time constraints or by way of where we put our mind. Because consider that this card here is signaling the planet of Saturn. It's also signaling the energetics of Capricorn. We have Pluto over in Capricorn, creating a lot of change to how we show up in the world and how we can be in the world. And we also have Saturn over in Aquarius. Both of these planets are in retrograde, so we're in a deep time of review where things that we want to move may not be moving quite yet because we're putting them in order. If we look at these people in the cards, they are bound to some kind of cycle, a wheel that keeps just going around and around, and yet they have these chains around their neck that are somewhat loose. So they could, if they really wanted to, take these chains off of their neck, and yet there's some aspect of it that they feel bound to by way of responsibility. And so it causes us to look at that in our life and consider where we feel restricted in our lives, because that is having some movement brought to it by this square relationship with Uranus, which is creating unavoidable change in our lives to give us this kind of motivation and this impetus to move towards something else. Now, the way that we're going to get through the challenge came in as the Hanged Man, and this person feels pretty bound to their experience, right? They don't have much control over their environment, and there is this energetic of yielding to a circumstance that is in our lives and gathering information and knowing that we will get the instinctive pull to move when it's the correct time. But we are in a place of gathering information and gathering influence before we can really, come down off of this situation. It's also very telling that we are starting to see things from a different perspective, right? Because the Hangman is upside down. He's looking at things from a different point of view, which makes sense because we have this card of clarity coming in. So if you've been looking at things by way of a limitation, perhaps it's important for you to gain a different perspective and look at it from a different vantage point, because it is quite likely that you aren't completely bound, right? There's something there that you're gathering in the experience which you haven't yet recognized or accounted for, which is why you feel kind of stuck there. Now, the ultimate outcome that we have for today came in as the Nine of Cups, clarified by the Magician. The Nine of Cups is a card of completion and satiation around some kind of project that we have a lot of emotional investment toward. We see this person who is sitting quite proudly in front of this desk that has all of these upright 9 cups. And it's as if all of those 9 cups have some kind of experience in them that someone can reflect on. And when we consider that, many of us may be in a mindset of feeling bound, right? What can we look at in our experience that has brought us something useful? Because gratitude is the biggest gear shift by way of vibration and frequency that we can send out into the world. What have we gathered in this experience, and perhaps what have we completed that we can have some satisfaction over? Also, what do you feel called to still put your energy and effort toward that you want to complete? Now, if you look at the time right now, right, we're approaching a full moon, and maybe you're getting clarity in regard to where you want to put your energy and effort over the next year. So if you sit down with yourself and actually think about it, what would you really like to have accomplished in a year? What would you like to have said if it was the best year of your life, that you were able to cross all of these desires or callings off of your list, and you were telling someone about the greatest year of your life? What would you have accomplished in that year? And what does it feel like, right? What are the steps that it would take to get you there? Because I think the Nine of Cups is reminding us that we have to make sure to lay those anchors in our path so that we have something to move toward. And we also got the Magician, which is a very empowering card in a lot of ways, because we see that the Magician has their arm angled up to the sky because they're a conduit, right? They're getting a message. They're feeling their calling. And before them, they have all 4 of their tools, right? One of them is the sword that we had as our opening card. There's also the pentacle. There's also the cup, and there's also the wand. And all of these tools are symbols for our tools that we have in the body by way of our mind, our emotions, our actual physical body, and our will that engages things into play. And so it's important that we remember that we have all of these tools and that all of these tools can work together by way of balancing each other, right? If you feel that your mind is running away with you, or it's stirring up the depths of emotion and there's something that feels imprisoned in some form of suffering from turning these things over and over again, how can you engage the body to help you move through them? You know, oftentimes when I have something intense going on, I have to remind myself to exercise or do some kind of movement or dance to help shift that energy and actually exert those hormones and chemistry out of my body so that I can be present with what I want to be present for in my life. And so it's important that we engage these tools and that we remember that we have these tools when, you know, one of them might be in overuse over another. And also to know that if you have been inspired to have a vision to complete something, or you have a calling, right, that has come out of the depths of everything that we've gone through in the last year or so, that this certainty around limitation is often the biggest hurdle that we have to transverse, because in the world, right, all possibility exists in all and everything. And it's up to us to actualize our visions and to also know that everything that we need to make that vision come into form exists in this world that we live in. And in order to have the seed grow into something, the first thing that we have to do is believe in the possibility. So I am looking forward to seeing what all of my friends and community bring out into the world and what they share with the world, because I think we're all being called in some matter or another to show up in a new way. I send you a good wish and lots of blessings for your day. I hope you're well, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.